Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Today's video is going to be quite different because today we're reading hate comments and CTMU criticisms and, YouTube comment sections as they have become more prevalent ever since, Professor in quotations Dave made his hit piece, which I thoroughly debunked in my own long form video. Every single one of the propositions of which his video was composite, I destroyed. And today we're going to be looking at the comments in a video that one of my peers named CTMUist has made. And we're going to be looking at the comment sections and just debunking any fallacies, arguments, whatever, whatnot. And I recommend you check out his channel. He made a great video debunking Professor Dave's hit piece. And yeah, I recommend you watch the video. I recommend you subscribe because he makes excellent animations and demonstrations, illustrations of the CTMU and the contents within. So yeah, we're going to do that. And without further ado, let's get into it. Much ado about nothing. Dave is right. Why can I not find a peer-reviewed article in a reputable journal on this theory? Well, firstly, the CTMU was published in Cosmos and History, which, by the way, is a peer-reviewed journal. So the CTMU was published in a peer-reviewed journal, and the CTMU is peer-reviewed. So that is just bullshit. The reason a lot of people don't know this is because they talk out of their ass and actually can't even tell you what the CTMU stands for. It's a easy way of deflecting from the necessary or requisite analysis for the CTMU to be considered either false or true by just deflecting to say, well, what are the credentials? What about the paper? What about the origination of the paper? Where was it published? What about this? It's academic masturbation, has absolutely nothing to do with the truth value of the contents of the CTMU. And even if the CTMU was not published in a peer-reviewed journal, which it is, right, it would literally make absolutely none of the propositions within the CTMU false, right? It is nothing more than a pivot. Saying that the CTMU was not published in the journal of your choice is nothing more than a pivot because it is trying to actively deflect from the contents and the substance of the argument by predicating the necessary requisite analysis on being, well, where is it published? Well, what are the academic accomplishments of Chris Langan himself? Are they in a prestigious university? He's high IQ, right? He must be an academic at a prestigious university, and his papers must be published in a high. It doesn't matter. It could be published literally fucking nowhere, and that still wouldn't make any of the propositions within the CTMU false because they have truth values, because they are active affirmative propositions about certain metaphysical claims. They're propositions, they're metaphysical claims themselves, about metaphysical contents, about metaphysical topics, right? So if you want to argue that the CTMU is false or bullshit, you're going to have to go against every single principle in the CTMU and argue that every single one of the principles in the CTMU is bullshit, or at least one, right? But none of these idiots have the wherewithal to do that. Another one of these kinds of comments, which I wanted to include for the sake of hilarity, is, if Chris Langan really did have a CTMU, wouldn't he publish it in a peer-reviewed science journal? Instead, he went on the Daily Wire, said he had a CTMU and it proved God exists, made no attempt to explain it, then didn't mention it again. Do you agree with Chris? It's like, these people really have no fucking clue what the CTMU even is. It's like, peer-reviewed science journal. Why would he do that? It's not a scientific theory. What the fuck? Why would... Really, this is insane. This is insane. It's like, science is a replica of anything that explains anything to these people. No, that's not how it works. It's in a philosophy journal and it is peer reviewed, right? You can cope, you can cry and bitch all you like, but it is a theory of everything, and by literally the definition of a theory of everything, not the made up one that Dave pulled out of his fucking ass, by the way, which literally every single dictionary on planet Earth disagrees with. No, the actual definition, I know that really doesn't bode well with you guys, but things have definitions, and the CTMU happens to be a theory of everything. So, and another one, they just keep on coming. At least this guy was humble enough to be self-aware and see if this is actually a dumb question or not. I have a question. Are there any actual scientists or physicists actually looking into the CTMU currently, like a university or anything like that? It's like, these people, it's like it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. No, the CTMU is not a theory in physics. It is not a theory in science. It is a metaphysical theory of everything. It is a philosophy. You don't go to Hegel and say, well, which physicists are looking into Hegel's work? It's fucking stupid. And another one about predictions. The whole argument could be put to bed if anyone could show a practical use for the CTMU. Calculate, predict something, and show how it works. As a theory of everything should be able to predict anything. Like, it's like these people don't understand what philosophy means. They've never encountered the word philosophy or metaphysics in their entire fucking life. A theory of everything is supposed to be an explanatory medium by which no content of explanation is omitted. Yeah, rewatch that, rewind that 10 seconds, and keep replaying it, because that's what a theory of everything does, okay? A theory of everything explains everything insofar as no content or explanatory object of explanation is omitted, ever. Anything that there is to be explained can be explained by this particular theory, right? It has no holes, it is completely consistent, descriptive, and more importantly, it needs to encompass epistemology, it needs to encompass metaphysics, it needs to encompass ontology, because these are all necessary prerequisites for a theory of everything. A scientific theory, by definition, is impossible for it to be a theory of everything because it cannot explain itself. It doesn't have the explanatory mediums to explain itself, right? That's why epistemology is important. And even if it did in a physical capacity, it wouldn't be able to do that in a cognitive capacity or in a philosophical capacity, because you need a justification for how you know anything, how anything can be known to be true, how anything can be known at all. All of these are topics and fields within philosophy. That's why, in order to have a theory of everything, these are essential components, and the CTMU fulfills the requisite requirements of every single one of these components of a theory of everything, and does so meticulously within the CTMU and extensions of the CTMU, and quantum metamechanics or the metaformal system and other papers. So yeah, this is more scientific academic masturbation, literally does nothing. It's more empiricism. Where's the... Yeah, it's not a scientific theory, dude. It's not supposed to... You don't go up to a scientific theory and say, well, what is the mathematical logical representation of the syllogisms and the arguments? That's not what a scientific theory does. It's like walking up to a car and say, well, why isn't it flying? Why isn't this vehicle flying? It's like, yeah, that's kind of not the utility of a car. That's not the teleology or the purpose of a car. That's kind of like not what it is made to do, right? And so that's that. Another pivot regarding Chris's background. Yeah, a bouncer from out of nowhere with no formal education in any science field is a legitimate source for the explanation of the universe. This has quite a bit of assumptions that are all fallacious in nature. They're all wrong, right? One of the assumptions is that in order for somebody to have a legitimate explanation for the universe, or a legitimate source for the explanation of the universe, that they need to be in formal education. In what capacity does formal education necessitate that somebody is now able to be a legitimate source for the explanation of the universe? Or how is that a requirement? How is that a necessary requirement? What makes it such that if you have a formal education, it can cause you to be a legitimate source for the explanation of the universe? It doesn't exist, nowhere. It's just an assertion, based on nothing but dogmatism. So another one is, he's a bouncer from nowhere, therefore he cannot have an explanation of the universe. It's like, okay, how is this even an argument? It's like, okay, bouncers are like metaphysically incapable of producing theories of reality. It's like, okay, yeah, sure. We have a 2-for-1 special for this one. It says, you've been so quick to pull up definitions for theories, models, and language, but you want to double check the definition of quantum, quanta, or operators. Quantum comes from Latin, meaning an amount or how much, and refers to the smallest discrete unit of a physical quantity, while an operator is a mathematical function that acts on a quantum state to produce another state. And the CTMUist, appropriately so, responds with, why are they mutually exclusive? I asked this in the video. And Decon version, the ingenious, probably atheist destroyer of the CTMU, is because that's how language works. Remember the thing you're trying to educate everybody else about? Yeah, language works as every word is mutually exclusive. What kind of possibly mentally debilitated presumption is this? That all words in language are mutually exclusive, that they can't be used in conjunction. So because the word self exists and the word imposition exists, these two things can't work together because they're different words and they refer to different things. It's like, this is really how low an IQ you have to sink to actually intelligibly make any criticism of the CTMU. This is the IQ level of the people that criticize the CTMU. Genuinely. And there still has not been a single criticism of any principle in the CTMU. Can you believe that? Literally not a single one, not a mention of any word of the principles in the CTMU. You'd think for people that are so adamant on debunking this, and destroying the theist Christian narrative bullshit Sky Daddy, they'd at least open the paper and destroy the amount of bullshit that there is in it, because there is no shortage of it according to them, right? You'd think that would be the case, but it's not, because they have nothing. Nothing. They're all fucking clueless. So, and now we have the classic cult accusation. He says, everyone is clueless except this fraud. Yes, I smell a cult leader. Everyone is clueless except this fraud. He's referring to my videos in which I call certain CTMU critics clueless, because they are. And when referring to everyone, he's referring to the group of people that I've done these videos on, being Dave, Solomon Nelson, this random guy making a hit piece on Chris Langan, and I don't really recall who else, but so yeah. So there's a certain group of people that I've made videos on, whom I've called clueless, and the reason that I have for calling them clueless is because every single one of them, with reference to the CTMU, are clueless. Yeah, and they're also clueless about philosophy, and I'm willing to debate that with literally anybody, any atheist, anybody. I'm willing to debate any proposition of the CTMU, anything related to the CTMU, against anybody. That's how confident I am in the CTMU. Now, ask yourself, what reason is there for these people to deny a debate with these easily debunkable clowns, lunatics on the CTMU? It's because they have no fucking clue what it is even about. Okay? And this is where the classic accusation of a cult leader comes from. It's not a cult to say that a generation of a group of people that follow somebody strongly because they understand his views, and the views that have been excised by a lot of people because they don't understand it. It's not to say that that is a cult. It is a natural consequence of people understanding something that other people don't understand and shit on because they don't understand it, and going fanatical about such a thing. It happens literally all the time. When a small minority of people understand something that a large majority of people don't understand and shit on repeatedly because they don't understand it, it's not hard to understand why people would be fanatical about it. It doesn't make it a cult, right? The CTMU, it doesn't, you don't understand how it resembles a cult in any way. Because it doesn't. It's not a cult. Like, I don't know what to say. I don't know how it's a cult, but I guess that's the only accusation that can be levied when you've run out of all other excuses for not arguing against something that you're so vehemently against. But in conclusion, we've went over these comments and they've been fucking funny as shit. I'm not gonna lie. I think I might make this a series of its own, because this is this is hilarious, and it's such an easy dunk and easy content against. Oh, my watch time is about to go way up. Okay, this is so easy to dunk on. It's like the same arguments, but I'm afraid that you guys might get bored of it. So I hope you enjoyed the video. More to come soon, a lot more to come soon, as a matter of fact. Big things are happening, and yeah, just stay on guard and keep wary of these idiots.